tournaments, wonderkind of the Open Series. He's up against David Kunze. It's going to be David Kunze is on white-green humans.
Right.
And Justin is on Junk Reanimator.
Justin is playing one of the decks which I had from the outset predicted would be one of our top decks of the day. It's this Reanimator deck. I think it's one of the decks that from the first week that was real. I think it was the only deck we saw. We did the commentary a week ago where I said this looks like a real deck.
Yeah. Looks very similar to Dan Jordan's list from Providence.
Yep.
Although Justin does have the combo finish in Craterhoof Behemoth because he's running the Arbor Elves and Avacyn's Pilgrim version. As you can see in play, we have. Oh my! There's a draw 4. It's a fairly nice one for doing a little bit of flipping.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to put him up to quite
a million cards in hand.
If he can go forest another mana dork, that's just filthy.
Does not have the mana dork. Okay. So we're going to discard a couple of these lands.
Just one card.
Oh, just one card.
Yeah, being on the play and the creature.
There you go.
Sick.
And David led with Champion of the Parish. Now David's Humans deck has Champion of the Parish and Mayor of Avabrook.
Yeah.
So even though it has things like Loxodon Smiter and Wolfer Silverheart, we're still qualifying it as humans.
Right. This David's deck actually goes back to one of those week 1 decks where everyone was jamming white-green decks. A lot of times these fell out of favor as we saw more control decks, but David has been defying the odds and, keeping good with it anyway. Has the turn 2 mana creature Champion of the Parish.
He's this deck won New Orleans last week, actually.
Right.
So there's a Dryad Militant, which is a little bit of a problem for Justin's deck. We have a reader, which is because it's going to shut down the Unburial Rights,
which he just drew.
Did he just draw the Unburial Rights?
Yes.
That's pretty adorable. So it shuts down half of it. It still is a Rise from the Grave,
which is fine.
Which is fine when that's what you're trying to do.
The big thing is that Uppal's deck is not particularly suited to deal with green-white. He like every other deck with forests, he has 4 Thragtusks.
Sure.
And he has Restoration Angels to go with the Thragtusks.
He has Lingering Souls to delay for a little while, but you're right. He is not particularly well built to handle. There's Mulch on the left there. Not my favorite art. I prefer the Stronghold art.
All right.
But it's quite all right. That's just a preference out of mine. So we got a Grizzly Salvage.
And
so there's a Craterhoof Behemoth, so we have a target if we so choose.
He's going to take the land. He already has a Thragtusk in the yard as a target, which might actually be a better target right now. Justin really filling up his graveyard. Remember, all the instants are going to...
Right, so both of those Grizzly Salvage are going to go away. There's Grizzly Salvage on the left. It's the Impulse for your graveyard. One of the more powerful cards for Pauper they've printed recently.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of some... Well, in addition to the Guild Gates adding a lot to Pauper, because there was not really a dual land before.
I see, yeah.
There's a Grizzly Salvage Mulch deck.
That seems
excellent. I've heard rumor of. I'm not a huge Pauper player. You'd have to ask one of the writers more about that. Card certainly not in Pauper is Sublime Archangel. That's going to make the champion quite enormous. So that's going to be a
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7.
7.
Because no, 6. She doesn't give herself Exalt. She gives other creatures, right?
Well, all creatures have Exalt. Oh, all other creatures have Exalted, and she already has it. So it'd be 4 or 5. It's going to be 6.
Sorry, Uppal drops to 10. All right. The biggest issue is that the Thragtusk is no longer a safety net here because Archangel can attack on its own.
Right.
It's going to be what he's going to cast, though he's still taking 8 a turn right here.
This Unburial Rights should be removed from the game. There you go.
Yeah, as much as he would like it not to be.
Right. This is just him trying to not die, basically.
Right.
Is what's happening here.
The problem is he has no actual removal. So
David has another Sublime Archangel, 2 more Sublime Archangels in hand. So this is not looking too great for,
man.
for Mr.
And 2 more creatures, another creature, and another Sublime Archangel. Yep. Wow.
So this Sublime Archangel that is not summoning sick is going to get in for a whole ton of damage.
Well, yeah, I mean,
probably enough to kill Justin.
Let's see, we'll have 6.
It'll 5 in play.
12. It'll be for 16.
It'll be for 16. So yeah, it looks like this is going to be lethal.
Sublime Archangel is one of those cards that when it's not answered is just so good, and Uppal's deck with no removal. Counting.
And that's it.
Okay.
So quickly to sideboards. That's one of the things that the green-white that we saw in, I mean, we didn't see because the cameras malfunctioned, but one of the things I saw when the green-white humans deck won the Standard Open in New Orleans was the power of the cards just individually. A Sublime Archangel can take over a game. one Wolfer Silverheart, when paired with literally any other creature, can take over a game. Silverblade Paladin takes over a game almost by itself.
Right.
So, you know, and the fact that I understand that they do need to be paired with things, but you don't have, they can be sitting out there by themselves, and then you can draw your card and find another 1-drop, and then it just is a huge, enormous swing in the game. Not to mention the fact that Wolfer Silverheart, Silverblade Paladin, and Sublime Archangel, when whenever any 2 of the 3 are on the board together, are a 2-turn clock, usually a 1-turn clock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those are all cards like Wolfer Silverheart, Sublime Archangel, cards that are great at gold fishing.
Yes.
They demand removal spells, which, like I said, kind of a board Justin doesn't have.
Well, there aren't a ton of instant speed removal spells that are good. It's the counterspell problem we were discussing earlier. The counterspells are all tier 2. Now we don't have Doomblade. We don't have Go for the Throat. We have Murder. We have Ultimate Price.
Which those are actually, like, Ultimate Price would be fine here.
Ultimate Prices would be fine here, but usually like in this metagame, unfortunately it doesn't kill. Olivia or Huntmaster.
Abrupt Decay would be fine. The bigger thing is, like, you don't want to kill Thragtusk.
Right.
Right, which I think is really the biggest problem, is that the creatures, there aren't actually good creatures to kill.
Sure. Everything has 2 lives.
Right.
Right. Like even if you're going to kill Huntmaster or Geralt's Messenger or Thragtusk, they just live multiple times. Same with Angel of Serenity. Really, it just draws 3 cards.
Right. You get 3 of your own things, and it's fine. So.
Quickly moving to sideboards, we're going to see what the players are going to bring in. I imagine Justin is going to bring in the elimination spells that he has, even though Sever the Bloodline is 4 mana. I imagine it will still come in.
Yes, Sever, Centaur Healer, Abrupt Decay, and Oblivion Ring, all of which seem like good sideboard cards.
Absolutely.
He may get away from his Lingering Souls package. That's while a really strong card, it doesn't do much in this matchup.
Yeah, it sort of delays. If he can keep David off of multiple attackers, I guess it's fine. Like, it sort of cancels out a Sublime Archangel.
Yeah.
But
it is very good against Archangel draws.
If he doesn't have the Archangel draw and instead has a Paladin draw, or has a Loxodon Smiter or a Mayor of Averbrook, it's a lot more awkward to be trying to fight that with Lingering Souls. So looking at David's sideboard, I would just like to point out that he does have 1 Swift Justice in the sideboard.
Right.
Which is kind of awesome.
I mean, I would imagine it's somewhat for creature mirrors. I can't see the card. If you're not killing a creature with it, it seems pretty terrible. I'm not entirely, I guess I'd consider it a green-white mirror.
Yeah.
Which this isn't, so I don't think he's going to use it.
He does, however, have 2 Dryad Militant and 3 Rest in Peace.
Yeah, so I love the Dryad Militants here. I'm not actually sold on Rest in Peace. I think he's bringing them in. Clearly, if you have them in your sideboard here, it's because you wanted them for this matchup.
Yes.
I'm still skeptical on whether it's actually good in this matchup. I think to a certain degree, Dryad Militant should be what you're trying to do instead.
Yes.
You'd rather have a creature.
I actually think I would prefer Ground Seal over Rest in Peace, just because it draws an
at least
extra
that
card.
one. If you need a card that answers the graveyard and is not a creature, at least try to make it do something and not be down a card. And
the Dryad Militants make a lot of sense. So, but he is going to have Rest in Peace. He's certainly bringing them in. He's probably also bringing in Celestia Charms.
So yeah, Celestia Charm was a kill spell for Angel, Craterhoof, Behemoth, Thragtusk, kind of.
Yeah. It takes out all of the things that Justin's going to be main on.
Right. He's got to make sure he doesn't dilute his deck too much.
Sure.
If he likes that as a trick instead of Faith Shield, then sure, you can replace Faith Shields with Celestia Charms. Outside of that, though, I would be really wary about him boarding in so many cards.
That's true.
His main deck is really his best strategy, and I wouldn't want to see him get too far away from it. But
I think that the thing that he would probably take out first is the Rancors.
Possibly. Rancor still seems to me to be strong. Maybe you're right.
It's probably still better than the Rest in Peace. He does have the Rest in Peace, though. Like, if you have them in your sideboard...
Right, so we agree that we wouldn't side it in, but...
It would make almost no sense for David to have them in his sideboard and not bring them in against the Reanimator deck.
Right.
So... And for Justin, it doesn't look like he has... Like, if he's not expecting Rest in Peace, which I probably wouldn't, he doesn't have any main deck answers, and he's probably not sideboarding into Sundering Growth or Oblivion Ring.
No, he's probably fine with Rest in Peace. It's annoying, I suppose, but could be worse. Kunze has his great opening, though. He has the turn 1 champion of the parish this game again. Both of them on their ideal 1-drops. We have a turn 2, we have a mulch from Justin Uppal. Sever, Pilgrim, Lingering Souls, and a land. So he gets 1 card off it, but gets a pretty good graveyard.
Yep. Fills up his graveyard quite nicely. All those cards are relevant out of his bin.
And he shocks himself for Overgrown Tomb, dropping 18. Looks like he has another mana creature. That's pretty sweet. Another Absence Pilgrim, no pass back. A very good turn 1 for Uppal. Turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's going to be able to threaten a Unburial Rites next turn if he has one, and his opponent does not have a Rest in Peace.
Well, he doesn't have any cards worth rights in.
Well, he has the he doesn't have the Thragtusk. I thought he did.
No, it's no threat. So we see Rancor on Champion of the Parish.
So we have a Goliath Beetle, 3/1 trample for David.
And he's going to pass. He doesn't want to make that trade. Just being mana efficient, he has Silverblade Paladin in his hand, so he's setting up for that on turn 3.
Sure.
So you had John players. Your pairs for round number 3.
That's a lot of damage. That's 8 damage next turn.
That is.
Daniel Levy from $10 draft number 12.
Justin is going to play a Borderland Ranger. I don't think he senses the danger.
I mean, maybe he's aware of it.
Although there's not a ton he could have done. He could have
Right.
like flashed back a Lingering Souls or something, but that doesn't seem that. I guess he still can. Right? Does he have black mana?
He has Overgrown Tomb.
So he can untap his Overgrown Tomb with his Arbor Elf and still flash back the Lingering Soul. So he's actually...
Yeah, he has a very good... Yeah, it's very good here.
He is still going to be facing down a ton of damage and not be able to trade, really.
No. Yep,
This is
Overgrown Tomb.
Alternate Alley is still up and running. Lindsay Burley, Ron
And
Ferris,
exactly that, making 2 Lingering Souls.
all have custom
So
work,
Justin,
paintings,
if he is able to put the Craterhoof Behemoth in his graveyard,
head over and check out some of the
would be
things they're
quite nice, obviously.
Right,
That would
and
be
It's
ideal.
at lethal time for Craterhoof.
He also would be quite all right with an Angel of Serenity. Other than that, though, it's not a ton of great options.
Alright, Silverblade comes down. It's going to pair with Champion. And 8.
So this is a 4/2 double strike trampler. Coming in to Justin Uppal. I imagine Justin's going to take this and go to 10. Justin does not appear to have anything enormous to be able to reanimate with the Unburial Rites that he has in hand. So, while he does have
No, it should just be 1. Just 1, not 2. There we go.
Yeah,
It's a 2/2. I think
it
he's
is-
representing the
right,
power,
right.
not the counters. So
It's a little bit
will
of
be at
office
10.
keeping there.
Yeah, no sense in blocking it. You're not really even preventing damage by blocking. Justin's got to think if he has answers in his hand to it, or how else he's going to deal with that guy.
Yeah, he doesn't have an answer to the Silverblade Paladin, so currently, I should say.
Yeah, putting Borderland under the bus doesn't do anything. It only gains 2 life. Unfortunately, I think you just take it all.
Yep. So he's going to go to 10. I think that Justin was like trying to figure out if he could add a turn by gaining 2 life that turn.
I see. He's drawn a Restoration Angel.
Restoration Angel is, it's good, but it's not good enough here.
No.
It's going to give him another turn to draw something else, basically, is what it's going to do.
Right.
Justin
And
is
another Avacyn's Pilgrim.
Yep. This is going to allow him to hard cast the Craterhoof Behemoth should he draw it.
Right.
The
The thing is, 1 human makes this a lethal attacker, and Sublime Archangel.
He's got
is the-
Sublime Archangel and a Johnny Caller of the Pride in hand, both of which make this lethal.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go for the Sublime Archangel. Seems like the better play here.
I agree. It adds more power to the board. You've already got Double Strike.
Let's make it +3/+3.
Yeah. a Sublime Archangel here means that the champion will be attacking for 7 with double strike.
Yeah, so that's a 14 damage attacker. Which isn't going to have to put 4 toughness, 5 toughness in front of this.
I'm assuming David activated his exalted triggers here. So we're going to flash in our Restoration Angel just to soak up some damage, probably blinking our Borderland Ranger. Not an easy situation for Mr. Uppal, who's trying to match his dad's top 8 from Indianapolis. His dad top 8 at the Legacy portion.
Oh, really?
Goblins, yep.
Oh, excellent.
Arvin Uppal had a fantastic article, by the way. What website was it on? I want to say it was on TCG Player. He had a great article. It was one of the better articles.
So he learned to play the game through Justin?
Justin learned to play the game through his dad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so they're both queued for the Invitational now. I'm hoping for big things from Team Uppal at the Invitational that's upcoming. I think they're both going. His article was about like how not just about the game, like how to play, but how to handle the life around playing the game. Because he lets Justin's. I think Justin's 15.
Justin's blocking just with Borderland Ranger. Is that correct?
Is he? I don't think that makes. I think he blinked the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, he blinked the Borderland Ranger.
He blinked the Borderland Ranger to get the land.
So he should only block and go to 1. It only makes sense to block with 1 Angel and a Spirit Token. The next attack kills him no matter what.
Yeah. So he figured it out. Anyway, Goose Dad, as he's nicknamed for some reason, wrote a great article on how to deal with Magic in your life. And when I was 15, I was playing Magic too, and it was very difficult for my parents to understand. These are big tournaments you're going to with men that are twice your age, and so being able to handle that kind of thing, as well as when you're getting older like his age, keeping a game in your life. It was a great article. I suggest it's for everybody to go read it.
Yeah, it sounds That's really cool. It's one of the first things we're going to start to see here with the age Magic is we start to see intergenerational play.
Yes.
It's just starting to develop, so it's
They said that
neat.
there were a couple teams in San Jose that had the same last name. So we're going to be able to sever here. So we're going to sever.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough, though.
Yeah, because if he severs
well,
the
just
champion,
recast.
he's just going to get the ranker back.
Right.
be able to
Justin's
put on
realizing
the
it. I don't think.
Yep, he's going to take out the Sublime Archangel, which isn't going to be good enough.
No.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, but it should just be over. It's one of those things you want to make sure that they show you the win, but yeah, the win is pretty forthcoming here. Kunze just needs to turn his creatures
He just
sideways.
needs to turn his guy sideways. That's all he has to do. Here's Najani, just for good measure, though. Going to put another +1/+1 counter, or double strike and flying, I should say. And
that's the match.
And that's the match. So David Kunze,
our first player in top 8.
7-0, likely able to draw into top 8. We did have an odd number of 18 pointers.
Yes. So our other matchups, we had Nick Marriott versus Andrew Shrout, both Star City Open veterans there.
I think we saw Andrew on camera